Welcome to Talk 30 to Me, a show where we talk about the perspective of 30-somethings on life, love, and the never-ending pursuit of fulfillment. My name is Anthony, but most people just call me Turg.
And I'm Randy Z. Let's start the show. Because today we're actually in Turg's garage. I'm sitting between a Giants flag, which is ridiculous.
2 pennants right behind you.
We're not going to talk about that, but I am going to talk about the turtle on the floor right now, because that kind of, I still haven't made peace with the turtle. And
I told you not to mention the turtle during the podcast. The turtle has no place in the podcast.
What's your turtle's name?
Turtle's name is, you're going to love this. I felt it was a very unique representation of his personality.
Do turtles have personalities?
Yeah. I sure they would have to. No. They're reptiles. His name is Turtle. I've had him since high school, since my senior year in high school, and quite honestly, I'm waiting for him to die. But you know, as fucked up as that sounds, I still take care of them and all that, but it's more pain than it's worth. I mean, they're not very friendly, and they're pretty high maintenance. Well, not really. I just get lazy with them. Just die.
So, man, it's been a while. We were supposed to actually link up last week to do the podcast, and it didn't work out. So
it worked out, but we decided not to record.
Oh, that's right. We did see each other. I was gonna say, I feel like I haven't seen you in 3-4 weeks.
You're having Turg withdrawals again. I mean, we went through this off air, and it sounds like you're really jonesing for some Turg in your life.
I've grown attached. That's what happened.
It's like we're dating.
Yeah, and I only like to get attached to a certain point, and that point was about a week ago.
Uh-oh. So what does that mean for us?
I don't know.
Are we over?
No, we already sent out our engagement photos.
Oh, yeah, we did. I got a lot of likes on that. You kind of got left behind. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well.
That happens.
But, did I tell you about the girl that dumped me twice in a week?
What? No.
Yeah.
This is news.
Yeah, man. So I was seeing this girl, and something had happened, and she had dumped me on a Friday. And I was kind of down and out about it. And then she, by the end of the day, she's like, I was acting irrationally. I'm sorry. Can we try to work it out that night? And I was like, oh, okay, well, sure. Let's go back to where we were. And by Monday morning, we had grabbed coffee and we were talking, and it was feeling pretty good again. I was like, all right, cool. Didn't miss a step. And Tuesday morning, she had asked me something, and I wasn't comfortable with it.
Well, hold on. What did she ask to make you not comfortable? I mean, that's pretty far. I mean, I don't say I know everything about you, but I know you well enough to know that you have a pretty thick skin.
Yeah.
So
okay.
What did she say?
So this was okay. So I guess a little more background. She's a single mother, and we'd only been seeing each other for about a month and a half. Mm-hmm. And she had asked me to help her move, and she had 2 young kids, and it means I would have to meet her kids to help her move because they were going to be with her, and I wasn't really ready to help her move.
Right.
I mean, not help her move. I hope I could help her. Yeah, meet her kids.
Yeah,
I could help her move. I just wasn't ready to meet the kids, and I told her that, and she was just like, "Well, I respect that, and I think I don't think you're ready for someone like me." And I was like, "I think you're right.
Not ready to take that next step."
No.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this. Why weren't you ready to meet the kids? I mean, it's not like they were gonna automatically gravitate toward you as a father figure.
Right.
There's some kind of boundary there.
Yeah.
You've seen those movies in the 90s where, the stereotypical white family and the stepmom comes into the equation rather, and the kids are hesitant to take on to latch on to her, and just rebellious. What was that show on TGIF? Step by Step. Yeah, Step by Step. And That's a good example of kind of merging two families. Well, you didn't have that, you don't have kids, but
I might have a turtle at the end of tonight.
don't you fucking take my turtle, you son of a bitch.
But I think that's one of the things that I never expected to be in that kind of situation, and I hate to say it, but I think I might have been a little. I don't even know the right word.
Is this your mea culpa?
I don't even know what that word means.
Oh, your admission of guilt?
Possibly, yes.
So
Yes.
you felt like you overreacted?
No. I stand true to how I felt and my reaction, but I never thought I'd be in a situation where I would be dating somebody with kids.
Okay, but you knew going into the situation that there might be a time where you would be introduced to said kids.
Right. When I thought things, once we figured out things were going to get a little more serious and probably a few more months down the line, but within the first month, granted, we'd probably gone on 5-6 dates, but in the first 2 months, that was just a little too much for me. I just wasn't ready for all that.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I've never been in that situation.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I could have been
Right.
drunk. Oh, these are your kids. Oh, wow, they're cute. No, I tend to stay away from the situations that I know are going to put me in a very difficult position.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just natural. It's that instinct. But I feel like it's that desperation that you feel in your 30s. Do you feel like it's a desperation in your 30s, or?
I don't feel, and that's the thing. She had given me multiple outs. She was in a bad relationship before, and so she had pushed me away in other facets, in what we were trying, I guess, dating or whatever. And I kind of, rode through it. And this time, she gave me an out, and I took it. I could have said no, I could have, worked around it or, figured out an alternative. But I felt like I was just in over my head, and that was asking too much of what I was able to give at the moment. So I had to I just took the out.
Why didn't you explain it like that? You knew what you were going into.
Right.
You had to have calculated the risk.
Right, and we had discussed it too. And things just escalated a little too quickly for me.
There is a lot more liability involved in a relationship at this age versus a relationship in your 20s.
Yes.
A lot more emotional engagement. There's a lot more riding on the line. And you're more inclined to take things a little bit more seriously if you feel like you've met the right person. But the other person needs to understand that you feel the same way about them.
Yes. Yeah. And she was an exceptional young lady.
Young lady. You're already talking like you're fucking 50.
Yeah, we're both 30. I don't know how to phrase it, but she was really cool. I was really into her. And I enjoyed getting to know her and talking to her. But this was just something just where I'm at in my life.
Yeah. That's understandable. You have your boundaries too. Everyone does.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's an interesting. I can't really gauge that. I've never been in that situation, so it's just my outsider perspective. But that emotional liability and that kind of, you're hanging yourself out there too. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to her. That whole thing might not have been natural. It might not have been meant to happen.
Perhaps, but
I felt like maybe it was too forced.
No, it wasn't too forced,
natural?
and that's what bothered me. It was natural.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you like the forceful meetings?
Bitch,
get in the car.
Wow, she's so rude. No, but it really, the one thing that it made me question is one, I know I'm not ready for kids, but if kids are something that I see in my future now. And that's the one thing that it's made me really think about, because of all the things that I'm involved in, all the different things that are pulling me in multiple directions. Where would a kid come into play there?
It is tough. Yeah, and this is the thing. I think we touched on this before, and it was the whole thing about when will you actually be ready? If you're trying to pick a point in time where you're actually going to be ready to commit to anything in your life, you're never going to commit.
That's true.
that's the harsh reality of becoming an adult, in the sense of you have to be a little bit more decisive with your actions, with your actions. You have to be very decisive and discern what is worth it and what is not. That's why I kind of said there's a little bit more liability involved with a relationship at this age, because every day wasted, and this sounds kind of deep and epic and really kind of taken to another level, and it might not be right, but every day wasted is a day lost. So you have to really calculate everything real precisely, and there's a whole lot to it. I mean, going back to your thing about kids,
Yeah.
it's pretty big. So, yeah, you're right. It might not be the right time.
Well, what about for you?
What about for me?
Was deciding that you wanted to get married something that, well, if I just don't do it, I'm never going to do it kind of deal? Or did you know you were ready and this is exactly what you were doing? Or
Fuck no. You never know you're ready. And that's the thing. You don't know you're ready until you're there. And even when you're there, you might not know you're ready. But you have to commit to it. And that's the thing. You make a decision, even as small as what to eat for lunch. You make a decision, you have to stick with it. And that's my philosophy on life. I don't back down from a challenge. I saw college as a challenge. I saw life after college as a severe challenge. I mean, shit, we couldn't, no one could find a job. Like not half the country, but a lot of the country was unemployed. You have to make that choice and stick with it. And that challenge, the next challenge I had, really, and if you look at it like that, it really is the way I view life, as a series of challenges. The next challenge for me was marriage. And after that, just a kid kind of popped into play, and that was unexpected. So I was kind of like, I wasn't expecting it, but I knew it was going to happen.
At some point, but not last Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Right.
I get that. Did it make you feel some kind of way when it happened, when you found out?
That we were pregnant?
Yeah.
The first words out of my mouth were, oh, fuck. And I think Anna, she felt the same way. And after that, we felt guilty about saying that. It was like we were bringing a child into the world. And
I get that.
What can you do? It's kind of like we realized at that point in time that our lives were going to change forever. And I don't think we were ready, but we had to commit to that. Again, because we made the decision to do what we did, and we had to live with it. But on the other hand, would I change it? Again, I've said this before, and I will maintain this position for the rest of my life. I would never change it, because my son is fucking awesome, and he's turned into a really cool kid, and I hope that I can see it through to the end. But as far as kids go, I mean, you got to realize that shit does not go away. They're there forever. I mean, you're going to see them 24/7. That's why now I realize why parents send their kids off to fucking school so early. Yeah. So, I mean, on that note, it goes to the point where you're engulfed, almost entrenched in your decision, to where you have to realize how much that decision weighs on the present. And now, kind of going off what you said earlier, everything changes. You live for them. Everything you do is for them. Everything you buy, everything you eat, everything they eat, every experience that you share is for them.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing, really. And I think it's an amazing experience. And for the first time in my life, which is hard to admit, I feel, I mean, just this year alone, I've already declared that this is probably the most selfish I've ever been in my life. And the things that I've done, projects I've taken on, how I've allocated my time. This is actually the longest I've been single, I think, since my early 20s. And it has its good days and bad days.
More bad than good, I'd imagine.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't get, I used to get lonely. It was a very lonely
there's times where I miss past girlfriends, certain things, certain moments that we used to share, things that we found funny, or songs come up or things pop up and just like, oh yeah, that triggers a memory. But for the most part, I also know I wouldn't be able to live the way I've lived the last year with having to be accountable for somebody else too. Not like saying I'm reckless, but who would let you just take, or not who would let you, but who would be okay with you just being on the road for that long and not knowing exactly where you're going, just showing up to the airport and just, where's the next flight going out? Put me on it. It's reckless.
To an extent, you're being, I would classify it as more adventurous than anything.
Yeah.
And more in enlisting your creative side and just saying, fuck it. In reality, I have no liability. I don't owe anyone anything, and I owe it to myself to get out there and do the things that I want to. To contrast that, I go to Kentucky for a week for work, or if I'm going to be going to Canada soon.
You are?
Yeah, for work.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because in my head, I was thinking, I was gonna say how I had invited you to Canada in June, and because we're going for 4 days, we got these dumb cheap tickets. For
yeah. I remember that.
And I was like, hey, you want to go? I'll buy your ticket right now, and you can pay me back later. And you're like, how many days? And I was like, 5 days. You're like, oh, I can't be away from my kid that long. And I was like, wow, that's profound.
Well, if you think about it that way, every moment I'm away from them, I'm losing time with them. And that, in the back of my mind, sometimes at work, I just stop everything I'm doing, and then I just open up a picture of them, and I just look at it. I'm like, damn, I wish I was fucking around with them right now in the backyard, or throwing shit, in the house and playing basketball. Like even now, it's time away from them, but at least here it's kind of cool because I could see them before the podcast. Now the first 2 episodes, I couldn't see them. I'd miss them for the whole night, and I would go to sleep, and I would wake him up in the morning the next day before I went to work, and just so I could see him, and he'd say, he'd wake up and he'd see me, he'd be all happy, and it's one of those things where that's the moment I live for now. My life's completely changed. Yeah. So everything that I do is for him. Yeah. I started collecting toys, those little Funko Pop toys. I think I got about like 30 of them now. I started kind of refocusing my life now and reassessing everything that I'm doing, primarily because, again, it goes back to parallel that statement that I made earlier. Every minute spent, it has to be calculated in my life now. I have to know what I'm going to be doing. Even washing the dishes or making dinner when Anna doesn't want to wash the dishes or make dinner, or even when I volunteer, which is seldom, I'm spending time away from him. But he comes and bugs us and all that, and that's cool, but I'd rather be reinforcing his knowledge and his curiosity rather than just doing that shit. That's why I'm all like, fuck, let's get a maid or something like that. But we'll see about that.
I feel like I have the same feeling, but towards my work. Like every time because I still have the balance. I have a day job, which is cool. It's great. I enjoy it, but it doesn't always fulfill me in the ways that my creative interests do. And so when I come home in the days that I'm either just drained and I come home, eat dinner, and just like veg out, well, really I just fall asleep. That's what ends up happening. And I don't do anything towards my projects, towards the film especially. Right. Yeah. I feel guilty. Yeah. Because I want to get this done. I want to, I feel like there's been so much momentum behind it and people continuing to support it. And here I am. I've only gotten the first minute done.
You're kidding. I thought you had more than that.
No. I mean, I've tried to do a trailer here and there, but it's difficult siphoning through that footage. But, that minute took me like a week because I cut, I think, at least 20 different clips to make that sequence. And I'm exaggerating. It's probably only 30 seconds, really. But that's what's where I feel guilty about my time not being allocated enough. And then I think, if a kid comes into play, which if that were to happen, I have no doubts in my mind that I would step up and, take care of it. That's never been a thought in my mind that it wouldn't happen that way. But I just question where all my other things would fall.
You have to realign your priorities again. And I think you got to refocus to what's important to you, obviously. And what's important to you now might not be what's important to you in a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months. You got to look on it short-term and long-term and kind of combine them into one vision where you see yourself going. But, I mean, that all doesn't happen if you're not taking care of yourself. I mean, I've mentioned this to you before. You can fall off and die and you have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're prioritizing your business right now. You are being selfish and you're neglecting yourself primarily because you're not taking care. And I shouldn't be talking because I haven't gone to the gym in a couple months, but we have to take care of ourselves. And that now at 30, especially now more than ever, you're starting to feel the physical changes.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Shit, in the morning, I can't even bend down without like a little bit of weird kind of stiffness in my lower back. It's like, what the hell?
Like my entire torso, like I feel is stiff in the morning when I wake up like that.
Weird.
You know, and once upon a time, I was an athlate. And I remember in college, and I hated it. I hated waking up every day at 5 a.m. to do, what's that thing? It's really popular now for CrossFit. We had to do CrossFit.
Oh, CrossFit, yeah.
I hated it. They had we were in the dungeon, and the dungeons were, I think, with the
At UCR?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the old athletic center.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at every station was a trash can.
Yep.
And, oh, I just hated it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Hated it, man. It was the worst. And after I, plagued by injuries, and I just wasn't able to cut it anymore, and I got released, I had no reason to work out anymore, and I just had no desire to.
So since then, what is your drive toward taking care of yourself kind of look like? It's kind of gone downhill.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And now I feel like I need to take care of myself more because
I guilt tripped you the other day.
You did guilt trip me the other day. But not only that, because if I don't do it now, if I don't create a habit now, it's going to get harder later.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I have cancer on both sides. I have heart diseases on both sides, diabetes on both sides.
Of the family, not his body.
Yeah, on both sides of my family. So I'm like super high risk for all this shit.
Huh.
So I have to take a hold of my health now.
And you're right. You have to build a habit. And if you don't build a habit, and if you don't work that into your routine, none of what you're doing right now matters. And I was going to the gym. I got real sick for, I was out for like 2-3 months. And then I'm still kind of recovering. But it goes without saying that served to me those 2 to 3 months that I was just out. That served as a wake-up call, like, get your shit together. Ironically enough, I think working out and putting my body through that stress, because I was waking up at 3 a.m., going to the gym and at work by 5:45-ish.
Yeah.
And then I don't get out of work until 4:30. And that kind of day, I think, kind of built up to why I got so kind of overworked. But
for sure.
At the same time, I felt great leading up to that point where I didn't. And that eventual downfall, I mean, it was bad, but that was a wake-up call to me.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see people that I care about, present company included, fall into that.
Yeah.
Because it's not somewhere that is fun to go.
Yeah. In 2014, now that I think about it, I was actually back in the gym regularly, and I had gotten down. I was slimming down a little bit, but then that December, actually broke a bone in my foot, and it was just hurting to walk, so I couldn't really stand very much, and so I couldn't run. I couldn't be on the treadmill. I could do weightlifting, but that's not really my thing. I was more
cardio.
Yeah. And then I think I got back in the gym probably by early summer, and then I was on a cruise to Mexico, and getting out the hot tub, slipped and fell and fractured my shin.
Oh God.
Yeah. And so I was out for like the rest of the year on that one.
So that's not...
That was 2015, bro.
Your history of falling precedes any of what we've already spoken about on air.
Oh, yeah. Did I tell you I fell recently?
What? No.
And I'm actually wearing the same shoes now. So when I fell in Austin, I was wearing these shoes that I'm wearing right now.
Okay.
All right. I think I talked about that in either the first or second episode. I can't remember. And these shoes, I was wearing these shoes. I remember specifically. I was wearing a brand new pair of pants I got from Old Navy. And I was walking back to my office. I noticed that the path I was taking had been blocked off with construction. And so I was going to cut through the communication building. And as I was coming down the stairs, I looked to my right and I see that it's also cut off there. And I was like, fuck. So I was like midway down the 3 steps, my foot got caught on the step and I just went down again. and I had my phone in my hand, and right here you can see that it's like scratched up from where I fell.
Oh, shit.
And then I actually have a scar on my hand from where because I came down. So I don't know what this is called when you move your wrist all the way.
Brace yourself?
No, because I went straight down and landed on my chest. I didn't want to use my hands because, like I said, I didn't want to break my arms.
Oh, you are a hand model in your free time too.
I know, this ruined my career.
It's a Zoolander,
right? But I had this scar right here on my hand, on my palm, because I was trying to save my phone. Because my phone was like a week old, so I got my phone scratched up. I was ready to rip my pants. I got up, dusted myself off, and yeah, that's why I ended up buying.
And there are a lot of people on campus at USC too.
There was nobody around. It was before classes started again for the spring semester.
This was last week?
No, this was like last month.
Last month. Last month.
Early January.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Yeah, and I had been already like going back and forth in my head about whether I want to like really invest in a nice pair of shoes. And after I scuffed these up, I was like, oh, I don't think I'm ready for this kind of commitment.
Was that the pair that you brought to my house?
Yes, that's why I bought those
and showed them.
Yeah, that's why I ended up buying those. Those are like perfectly fit, like out the box, just completely formed to my foot.
They're good leather.
Oh, it's beautiful. They're beautiful shoes. These are a piece of crap that I'm wearing now. And you can see the scuffs from where I've hit the steps and like fallen multiple times.
Battle scars, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't
live with them.
I thought I was only getting clumsy recently, but apparently I've been doing this. It's kind of a habit.
It seems like, yeah. It seems like it's habitual. It's we all have patterns in our lives. It's kind of funny that you brought that up. But it's one of those things where if you come to me a month from now and tell me you fell down, I don't think I'm going to laugh anymore. I'm going to be concerned. Concerned for many reasons. So one day you're just going to fall and I'm not going to hear from you for like a month. You're going to be in the fucking hospital. Like,
yeah. Live from Kaiser Sunset.
Talk dirty to me. Oh, yeah, we're getting old.
That's horrible. When
you're falling at 30, you just know your fucking 60s and on is going to be fucking riddled with hip injuries and the like. I mean, you're fucked.
I need to drink more milk, bro. So I don't get that osteoporosis and they'll be able to last for the falls.
I can't do this. The mental images are stifling. Stifling in a comedic way. Oh, man.
I fall gracefully, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
So, okay. We talked last week, and you said you were going to go to the gym the following day and wake up at 5 o'clock. Okay. And I made you feel bad because I used to wake up at 3 to go to the gym to get to work on time. And you get to work at fucking like 8 or 9 o'clock. I have to get to work at the crack of dawn. So, did you end up making it to the gym?
I plead the fifth.
I don't understand why it's so difficult for people to wake up early. I mean,
it's just sometimes I just don't have the desire to be in the gym. Like it's hard because like just finding time to be active and doing other things. Then it's like, well, what do? I really am at a loss. But that's probably me just not putting enough effort into it.
Yeah, there are other things you could do. I mean, you don't need to go to the gym. You can lead yourself into it, or not lead yourself into it. You can work up to going to the gym, or maybe work exercise into a hobby that you like. What I found that I've been doing recently is kind of reconnecting with things that I used to do, kind of like rehashing old pastimes, I guess. Now that I have a son, it's a little bit different because I can, like I said, it's kind of fun sharing these kinds of things with him. So recently we went hiking. Took him up to Monrovia Falls. He walked the whole way up there.
Really?
I did not carry him. I did not hold him. I did not help him. I held his hand on the tricky parts. He walked the whole way there. And on the way down, I carried him on my back and I just ran the whole trail. I put him on my shoulders and I ran the whole trail. He loved it. He was going nuts. Because I was jumping all over the place, bouncing off of rocks and all that.
Parkour!
Yeah, kind of like that. And he was cracking up. And, I had pretty solid footing and I wasn't taking any chances. But that's one of the things that I want to start doing more. And shit, we could go hiking together with Ethan and we could do that whole thing. And it's fun. It's outdoors. You still get a workout. And shit, I was sore for the next 2 days.
Really?
Welcome to 30. All right. So it was kind of weird. But again, I was squatting over 300 before I got sick, and I was sore from hiking 3/4 mile with Ethan on my back. It's an extra 25, 30 pounds. I think he's about 30 pounds. And my water bottle. I mean, it's sad. I was sore the next day. Is. Everything too. My whole lower body was. I was like, wow, what the. I didn't feel tired or anything after. But
yeah.
That's 30. So I mean, hiking is one thing. What else?
I don't even know, man. But it's the things that I used to do when I was younger. I mean, even if I'm talking about like in the childhood when we just running around in the streets and playing football and whatever. Like I know I can't even keep up with doing that. There's some things I probably could do, or going to the batting cages. I do that every so often. It's fun, but when you're out of practice, you break bats.
You're not what you used to be.
Oh, I know.
Timing's off.
Yeah,
hand-eye coordination
bad.
is
bad.
Dwindling.
Because back when I was in my prime, the little leaguers used to like watch me when I was in the cage, and now I'm over there in the corner like
trying to hide, and
right?
make sure no one sees you.
Right.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. That's me all the time.
I off the top of my head, I can't think of anything really, but that's probably because I'm like stifled right now with my savings shock. I'm in the home buying process, and part of it is I have to set aside this specific amount every month, what the mortgage would be,
right,
to stay eligible for this nonprofit that I'm going through. And it's keeping me at home quite a bit. But I mean, I was always a homebody. That wasn't an issue, but I just am not getting creative at all with other things I could be doing.
There are things on the cheap, but it does take a very sound and disciplined mind to budget. And that's pretty important. I think we kind of touched on this in our blog post, the Journey to 30 bucket list, where we mentioned that you have to kind of leverage your equity and invest in yourself to kind of build that portfolio to be a little bit more of a well-rounded individual financially, primarily. And I think what you're doing is good to an extent. And I remember going through the home buying process. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. And I know I've been that's like the only way I've been texting you like this last couple weeks is, hey, what do you think of this property? Hey, I looked at this. What do you think?
This is the thing, and I feel bad giving you my honest opinion, but if I had someone kind of telling me what not to do when I was buying a home, which I kind of did and kind of didn't because the market's completely changed. So there aren't a lot of people that I knew that had bought a house recently. But if I had someone giving me insight, it would have been a little bit more helpful toward my decision. Not that we made a bad decision. I love my house. But the whole process was just so lengthy. Fortunately for us, we bought our house right as the market started going. Like right before it started taking off, we bought our house. So now it's pretty difficult.
Yeah. So
you've gone through how many properties?
I think 5 properties, 1 offer, withdrawn an offer. And right. They came back and countered to bring me back in. I was just like, I didn't know people do that.
It's a sign of desperation.
Yeah, and it's kind of...
It's not very common.
No, but...
So something must be wrong there. Dead bodies under the floorboards kind of stuff.
I was going to tell you it's across the street from a cemetery.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Weird.
And I was like, oh, so...
You didn't tell me that before.
Oh, I thought I did. The reason why I liked it is because I thought there'd always be parking, and it's a multi-property unit that I'm buying. And I get there and no parking anytime.
Oh, so no street parking.
Yeah.
Is it an active cemetery or an old?
Okay, what's an active cemetery and what?
Okay, fair enough. Is it a cemetery that's full, or is it a cemetery that's still accepting new bodies?
I have no idea. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Okay, but going back to what we were saying, like I said, what you're doing is great.
Yeah.
But you can't let it restrict you. To an extent, it does. It kind of handcuffs you regardless. I mean...
Yeah, because of the escrow process and all that.
Yeah, if you put any money into your account, they want to know about it. You have to write a letter of explanation. If anything comes from an foreign source, it's not either your income or...
Okay, so the letter of explanation is a normal thing? I thought it was just for this process I was going through.
It's a normal thing. Yeah. They want to know about every movement that you have in your accounts because that is money that is... that has to be accounted for.
Yeah.
And they're basically relying on your credit worthiness by way of your checking account.
So here's the thing, and this is what I've been struggling with, is in my mind I always figured if I was buying by myself, I was gonna buy something small, single family, condo, whatever, and use that for however long I need it until it's time for marriage, family, whatever, and I need something bigger.
There you go.
Rent that out, buy something else.
Right.
I didn't qualify. Well, I mean, I qualified, but it was like for peanuts. Nothing you can get in California for what I qualified for. But I qualified for a multi-unit property, triplexes and quadplexes. And
No duplexes?
no, I didn't qualify for a duplex.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a different qualification process entirely?
Well, no, it's less income generating.
Right. So, okay. They're basically they're basing your eligibility on the income.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah, the income that those properties would generate on top of me having to live there. And I'm so stressed out with it, to be completely honest. It's so taxing. And then just thinking about like having to find tenants and dealing with all that stuff, it's just, I was telling my dad about the counter offer that the last property gave me. And I told my dad, and then he looked at me, he's like, well, you can't have a heart in this business. And he walked away. And I was like, why are you so dramatic?
That was a very emotional statement.
Because I told him about,
ironic because it's the antithesis of
right. I was telling him how the 2 units were remodeled. The 1 unit, the final unit, was a 1-bedroom, had 7 people living in it. It's completely trashed.
Every day this number grows. First it was 5, then 6, now 7.
Oh, no, it was 6. It was 6 to start, but my mom swears she saw 7.
Okay.
Like, okay. I only saw 6 beds, but okay.
6 bed? At least they all had a bed.
Yes, they all had a bed, but the mold in the bathroom was just disgusting.
You'd have to gut the entire bathroom.
Yeah, I know. It's just the fact that the families all had a kid that was special needs, so like there was wheelchair ramps and wheelchairs all over the place, and then having to evict them for the sale to go through.
Yeah,
they're
your dad put it perfectly.
Yeah, I'm just struggling with it.
Well, you can't really have a heart in that business. You got to be you. It is your property, your investment, your money, your liability at the end of the day, and you're not making the decision, so you don't have to worry about that. If he's going to sell, he's going to have to do the same thing anyway, and whether it's to you or someone else. And that is kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, the liability involved with being with growing up, really. I mean, at any age, whenever that age is that you officially designate as, hey, I'm grown up now, there is a lot of liability. And in your 20s, you had a disregard for that detriment.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the underlying theme of your 30s. You have to be careful because every mistake will cost you that much more.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it might be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. I think about it, and as big or as difficult as problems were before, I really truly feel like this is probably like the biggest thing I've ever had to like kind of deal with. And it's so overwhelming, just the entire home buying process.
Welcome to your 30s. What can I say? I mean, it is the first step in a series of overwhelming things, and it kind of feels like I'm.
Are you big brothering me right now?
Kind of, but I don't want it to sound like that. It's fucked up because buying a home should be the least of your worry. I'm thinking this is fucking nothing, dude.
Yeah.
If you could do this, just wait. Life kind of puts you through the ringer at 30 and beyond. I mean, shit. The next steps in your life are only going to grow, but this is the thing, you're building toward that. And you're building that scar tissue, that thicker skin, that skin is becoming even thicker. That experience really is setting in, and you might feel like you're not ready. And shit, I felt this the other day. I was like, maybe I'm really not ready to be a dad. And it dawns on me every now and then to the point where it's kind of scary, but at the same time, I'm already a dad. I kind of have to live with it. You have to put yourself in that position to say, I'm already a home buyer.
Yeah, I've already come this far.
You might as well commit.
Right. But we've already established my issue with commitment.
But that's where you have to kind of draw on your inner self to incite change and inspire yourself to kind of go above that mentality. Maybe that is a part of your 20s that has yet to be shed.
I mean, I guess part of me agrees, and yeah, maybe I have to grow out of that still, but I don't necessarily feel that's exactly where I am. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I do.
It's one of those things where you are going to have to reflect upon it. And it just takes a little bit more presence of mind, I guess. You got to look at yourself from the outside looking in. And that requires potentially a more well-rounded view of the world around you and how it relates to your life and how it plugs into your being.
Yeah. I mean, that's more than just like the meditation aspect of it. I mean, but that's essentially what I need to do because I haven't really been practicing that like I said we were before.
Me either. I've tried it a few times, and meditation doesn't need to be completely dedicated to the setting and the environment like they say. You can meditate at work. You can just take a little step back, but you have to kind of realize that everything around you is a stimulus to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like a really dumbed down way of saying it.
There's a lot that's going on around you, and it's easy to get lost in it all. From texting, Snapchatting, Facebook, Twitter, everything else that you might be involved. You're not really involved in that. I'm involved in those things, but
no, I'm not. I mean, I'm kind of forcing myself to be involved in them now a little bit more. My wife and I have really been against posting pictures of Ethan on social media, primarily because we don't know where those pictures are going. And I don't think I'm comfortable with that, So there's no Ethan on the internet. I've kind of, now with the podcast, I feel like I have to be a little bit more involved, which I am. I'm trying to grow my voice in social media, but it's just so time consuming.
It really is.
Technology is time consuming.
If you are a techie and you enjoy that stuff, you could definitely lose hours playing around with it.
I am. And I love technology, and it is very time consuming. And I feel like it serves as more of a detriment, that and social media, to our society.
Yeah, it completely changes the interactions. I mean, I have students that email me, hey, can you do this for me? That's not how you address me. I am a professional.
Right.
You spell out your words.
Not using shorthand on your emails. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
But but even just interactions, everything is, it's weird because everything is documented, which is great, but at the same time, it takes away from the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm the worst when it comes to, because people love taking selfies or taking pictures, like documenting. I'm the worst at that. I rarely ever take a picture of where I'm at. I'll take a picture of something I see that catches my eye, but never is it like, oh, look who I met today, or oh, just finished the meeting with so.
Yeah.
I'm just not that person.
Same
So
here.
I don't think to do that because I'm more involved in the moment.
So here's this. And this is what's coming right now through my head is 2004, Facebook comes out. We were not a social media people before that.
Yeah.
There was no such thing. I mean, there was MySpace, Friendster and all that, but that was very limited in scope.
Yeah.
To the extent where you couldn't really do a whole lot with it. I mean, you could, but you couldn't. How did we evolve to get to be this
dependent?
This dependent, this type of person where we're constantly relying on our phones to tell us what's going on, who's doing what, who's where. I don't do that crap either. When I go on vacation, I don't want people to know I'm on fucking vacation. I kind of do, but I don't. But I feel it's like people are using social media for the wrong reasons. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but they're using social media for the wrong reasons.
It's building a facade, what they want people to think about that.
I didn't want to go there, but yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's kind of like internet boasting, showboating.
Yeah. Showing
off stuff that really doesn't represent you as a person. I mean, I see people's stuff on social media, people that I know very, very well. I'm like, that's not you.
Yeah. I had a conversation about this probably a month or two ago. My friend Ralphie, we had linked up to do one of the interviews for the film, and we were talking about, we both started our businesses around the same time, give or take, and we've actually done some collaborative projects together. And one thing we were talking about is we share a lot of our successes, and that makes everything else seem easy. And one thing that we haven't really reveled in is our failures and our setbacks, and how that plays a role in the confidence, how that plays a role in how you bounce back, how that plays a role in the next decision you're going to make. And it's so important, but nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about how they've screwed up. Nobody talks about where they've gone wrong. And I think that as these younger kids come in after us, they see just the highlights.
Right.
And that, I think that also changes everybody's interaction, and that also influences the perception people have of you. And that changes how they treat you in person.
Yeah, you might have a point there. And sometimes it does agitate me when I see something from someone and they're completely misrepresenting themselves on social media. And I'm not going to name any names, but it's kind of disconcerting when you see that kind of thing, and a lot more annoying than disconcerting, because it kind of plays on the wrong emotions with that other person that's viewing that. And they don't really realize that when they're posting it, but it's like, why the fuck are you going that far out of your way to post something that doesn't represent you? What are you trying to do here? Mm-hmm. But you're totally right. We take away the human element of life through social media.
Yeah, perfection erases humanity. And that's I think what people are able to do with social media. They're able to create this perfect image of themselves. And it just really tarnishes the entire experience of going through life, because certain failures, certain setbacks, that's what's going to really create who you are. It develops your character. It develops how you're just going to go through life.
But that's the sad part about it. Now I feel like social media is a place where we go to just disconnect from reality and just kind of unwind, and we are living vicariously through other people instead of using social media as a tool to help other people or to help ourselves.
Yeah, it definitely happens a lot more for people that like myself that are on social media daily throughout the day. I actually haven't been as much, but for the most part, when it comes time for work and business time, I'm actually using it for the purpose of connecting. For most instances, like Twitter especially, Instagram is completely different the way you use that platform. But after I'm on, if there's an award show, State of the Union, whatever the case is, I'm on Twitter to see what everyone is reacting to and how they're interpreting what's being said. From the debates. I mean, Twitter's hilarious for that.
Yeah, but it's also taking away from the moment that you're living in. So here we go. We have two parallel events happening, right? You have your social media popping off at the same time as the actual event. What are you actually paying attention to? Are you being biased by the opinions and the viewpoints in social media rather than listening and forming your own opinion based off what's actually going on? Or are you that person there are two roles. Are you that person that's forming the opinion for the other people who are following you on social media?
Yeah.
That's the two worlds. Now we have the leaders and we have the followers. And the leaders are obviously the people with massive, Facebook and Twitter followings. Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate for everyone else. And now you're kind of forced to think like everyone else.
Yes and no, because with that same kind of concept, it's not just the four leaders that the media is presenting to us now. We have other people that we're able to reach and see and hear other perspectives that are conflicting or in agreement with what's being said in those particular environments.
But here we go. You're not paying attention to that environment. You're paying attention to social media.
Yes.
So what do you really believe in? Not what do you really believe in? What are you really taking away from that moment? So that's weird to me, because I am a very I live in the moment kind of person. I can't do social media primarily because I feel like it takes me out of that moment. And when I do social media, I always find the wrong time for it. When I'm driving or when I'm doing something
that's just reckless.
Yeah, well, obviously. No, not when I'm literally at the wheel. When I'm at a stoplight, pop open Facebook or Twitter, see what's going on. Oh, light's green. Guy behind me is honking. Gotta go. Kind of thing.
But, I thought you were on Snapchat popping bottles at the red light.
I was driving behind the sheriff the other day, and I was so tempted to pick up my phone, drive right by him, and take a selfie kind of thing. What are you gonna do, man? Anyway,
you're just another fucking asshole.
I'm just another fucking asshole. But that's my viewpoint on social media, and it might be valid, it might not be, but I don't really care for it. I'm trying to really adopt it. I love technology, but I don't feel like social media was that aspect of technology that really I latched onto. It's very technology is time consuming as it is. Technology is that much, or social media rather, is that much more time consuming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's what we ask everybody to kind of hold you accountable.
Wow, really? So what?
Tweet Turg at. Are you using which Twitter? Are you using your personal? Or are you using the Talk 30 Pod?
I think we both use both now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am on Twitter. I don't have a lot of Twitter followers of actual people that I know, just random people, and then I got like maybe a dozen people that I actually know on Twitter. Not a lot of people use Twitter that I know.
Oh, I was gonna say,
that
actually,
I know. No, a lot of people use Twitter.
Yeah.
A lot of people use Twitter, but not a lot of people I know use Twitter. But I am at _ruined, and we are at Talk 30 Pod on Twitter, and you are.
I'm at I am Randy Z
on Twitter. And then we are on Facebook at Let's Talk 30. And if you haven't already, share this with your friends. Because it's one of those things where we put a lot of time and effort into a lot of our thoughts, and we really appreciate that you guys are listening to this. And we want to reach out to a lot more people.
And we want to interact with people. We want to talk to other people that are dealing with the same things we're dealing, or dealing with different things that we haven't even thought of or experienced yet.
That's the whole point of social media. I feel like if we start using it for that purpose, I feel like we can get a whole lot more out of it. And a lot of you might not agree. And to me, that would be very disappointing if you didn't. Primarily because I get on social media and I really want to look for something interesting. And if you guys find this interesting, we hope you share it and tell us what you think, what you like and what you don't like, certain things that might jive with where you are in life. Share what you can and can't relate to. And maybe if it's even at all relevant to you, near, at, or beyond 30. Either way, we'd like to know.
So come find us. Look us up online. Find us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Interact with us. Post questions yourself. We'll share it with our community. We just want to grow.
And you can definitely help us get there. So, for Talk 30 to Me, I'm Turg.
And I'm Randy Z. And, Sankeys. Well, Sankeys wasn't even here today. We had time set aside for him.
A chunk of time.
Yeah, so this is probably going to be like 15 minutes shorter than our usual episode because Sankeys wasn't here.
We were supposed to have him as a guest too, yeah.
Well, next time.
We'll get him on. Remember, everyone, this is just the beginning. Good night. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the flip side.
You're so corny. We're keeping it.
Fair enough.
Like you were part of this. Life under the stars, it's a shame you're in the audience. Standing in the crowd, but you feel like you were part of it. Life under the stars, it's a shame you're in the audience. Standing in the crowd, but you feel like you were part of it.
Does your cat ever play with your turkey?
Yeah, he claws at him.
No, really?
Yeah. Fuck the turtle.
No.
A turtle bit my cat once.
No. What? How is that even possible?
I told you I let my turtle out.
That's right.
Yeah, my cat was out too.
I forget he's not confined to it, but it just really gets me thinking. Like that's what I'm like. I never thought of that.
I never thought of it that way.
That doesn't make me an asshole.
If that doesn't, then what does?
Everything else.
There's no context to this.
At all. Yeah, I'll get there. Give me a second. I'm still laughing about the turtle.